Welcome back to Sendspark Studio South here in sunny Austin, Texas. Today we've got Alexis Bertholf, sales engineer over at Cisco. But honestly, if you looked at her past experience, you'd think she was an astronaut. Alexis, what's your favorite color?
Right now, pink. Honestly, it might have been influenced by the Barbie movie.
That had to be it. It's funny. I was just talking to my significant other, and I was telling her that we went to go see Oppenheimer. Maybe she was appeasing me, but she hasn't brought up wanting to go to Barbie. So I'm thinking we want to do that this weekend. Did you go see Barbie yet?
I did. I saw Barbie and Oppenheimer, and I will say I thoroughly enjoyed Barbie.
Okay. I was hoping that you would say something like that because now the priority on Barbie has gone up. It's not going to be Blue Beetle or the Super Mario Brothers movie. We're going Barbie first. Alexis, you want to jump into it?
Sure thing.
First off, really quickly, I heard you were from Pennsylvania and more specifically Scranton. Is that true?
It is. I was raised in Scranton, Pennsylvania, went to school there, and it's funny because the first couple jobs I interviewed for, people actually thought I was joking. I had a couple people pull me aside in the interview, on the interview panel, they'd pull up my resume and be like, "This isn't real. You're joking."
Because they didn't think Scranton was a real place. That's funny, just because I went to Penn State, so I know Scranton is a real place. I also play video games. I play Call of Duty with my friend Keith, and he is from Scranton, Pennsylvania. It's the only person I've ever met. Now the second person, I think Joe Biden actually, but I haven't met him. Second person I've met here is Alexis. We're going to jump into the first question here. Alexis, what is your superhero origin story? You're bit by a spider moment. You looked at the world one way, and then something happened, and it's led you to where you are today.
Yeah, like you said, I was originally an aerospace engineer. So I studied aerospace engineering for 4 years in college, and I had a couple of really great internships. So I worked for GE Aviation, I worked for the Navy, and then finally I worked for Boeing. And every summer I would go and sit in my little cubicle and press some buttons and work on software repairs, whatever. And every time I came back to school, I was like, this isn't it. It's not what I want to do. It doesn't feel right. And while I was actually working for the Navy, like most internships, they take the interns around on little field trips. And I think I met this guy, as far as I remember, his title was actually the director of science for the Navy.
It sounds very general, the director of science.
Director of science. I was like, wow, that's so cool. What do you actually do? And he was like, it's classified. I can't talk about it. But he pulled me aside and he was the one that told me to go into tech sales. And at the time, I remember looking at him, I was like, you're crazy. I'm an engineer. And he was like, no, 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 you don't understand. You are so good at talking, so good at presenting. You really need to look into sales. And so I went back to school. I ended up getting an internship at Boeing, which is every aerospace engineering student's dream, because usually that leads to a full-time position. Boeing is such a great place to work. And I got out there and I hated it. I did not like living in LA. I didn't like the work I was doing, and the people were wonderful, but I was bored to tears. I mean, I could not. And I was working in a really cool department. It was a really cool internship. And so I came back to school and I was like, I think tech sales actually might be it. I ended up applying to a bunch of sales training programs in IT. There's a lot of them, whether they're hosted by Cisco or AWS or Microsoft or Dell. And I did a complete pivot into IT.
That's pretty crazy. I'm a sucker for anything to do with space, science, just all the things that I wish I knew the math around, but I'm just supremely interested in all of it. I love it all so much. I love reading about it. I would never imagine that someone would go through all of that and get all these things. You said you got the internship at Boeing. That is, if you get that, it's sort of like, wow.
Pinnacle.
The
like
pinnacle,
you
right,
it.
of what you want to
You
get.
did
And then
it.
you went to the door at the top of the mountain and you realized that you didn't want to walk through it. And then you went back down and found another place. And in
Right.
tech sales, that's really interesting. That's a really good superhero origin story. You were told to do this, and that's what you did. A few people can look at the menu when it's presented to you like, hey, this is why you should do it. Really take that advice, and you actually went and did it.
I think some of the best things I've done has been taking advice from strangers. It sounds crazy, but I mean, when you look at like people you meet throughout your career, they're strangers and they're just trying to help or share their experience. And so it's exactly what I did.
It's a great opportunity for the world to show off and sort of come out and say that there are still good things about it. You take that sort of advice from a stranger and it is good advice and it comes from a good place. You think that it doesn't happen that often in this place that we are in, but it does. Alexis, sales engineer. So you jumped into the sales engineer role coming from aerospace work at Boeing. What part of the sales engineer job keeps you up at night?
Mostly just making sure my customers are taken care of. I got into sales for the people, quite frankly. As cool as IT is and as cool as as network engineering is, I didn't come here for the tech, I came for the people. And so making sure that they're taken care of, we're solving their problems, they're not having an outage or an emergency. We are customer facing. So if someone calls you at 8 o'clock and says their core is melting down, you take that call, right?
Yeah, they're a P0.
But especially coming into sales in the middle of the pandemic, I graduated college in 2019. So a lot of the more traditional tech sales aspects of being customer facing 5 days a week or traveling a lot or going on site, a lot of that's been replaced with digital communications over WebEx or Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So we're not in front of clients as much as we used to be. The other thing I think about a lot is trying to make sure that our customers know we're still there, we're still present, we still have that same relationship. And that's part of the reason I've started posting quite frequently online, to have that same level of cadence, that same high touch presence that sales reps used to do, just virtually, because our communication patterns have changed.
I think it's so interesting that just thinking about, you work for a big networking company, and the needs on networking shot up once we came into this virtual world. And it's sort of like, in a way, Cisco helps you stay away from people, right? And of course,
Well,
because it was
everyone wants to be
necessary.
hybrid.
Of course, they did it, but in a way, you still have to be good client facing. Sort of like they're keeping you away, but you still have to be good in person.
Yeah.
And it's just gnarly that you're able to do that, especially in the time that you came into the workforce, where in 2019, just a couple months before the pandemic, where everything went hybrid. How do you learn those in-person skills? I think that that's why I was initially very interested in the work that you were doing, just because you're so good at getting these very dense things across to people in a very engaging, entertaining, pleasant way. You're always smiling. There's something about it. And you're seeing it in the engagement that you get. You get tons of engagement, whether it be TikTok or LinkedIn. And I think it's a testament to you as a person that you're able to do all these things.
I appreciate it, but it goes back to what sales engineers are supposed to do, which is breaking down very dense topics and making them easy to understand. At the core,
Yeah.
your sales engineers are educators. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to educate your customers, inspire them to adopt new technology, help them make plans for where the future of their network is going, and also hold that relationship, be their trusted advisor, and help them get there.
Yeah. I guess talking about how you're being that trusted advisor for your customers these days, what do you think will be different in your customer communications in 1 year versus what's going on right now? Or are you already seeing customers leaning towards a particular form of communication? Are they only doing via email? Is it just the LinkedIn DMs, the TikTok DMs, you know, because you're getting questions on your TikTok. I see them. What are you seeing there? What do you think will change?
I really feel like when you look at these platforms, the writing's on the wall. This is the way that people prefer to interact. And it depends. I mean, everyone has their own preferred communication method, whether it's LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, YouTube. People are getting their information from multiple sources, and whether they're gravitating towards these platforms to get the news, follow celebrities, connect with loved ones, it doesn't matter. But in order to be more effective at our jobs, in my opinion, because a lot of sales is relationship building, we're going to have to figure out how to be there too. And that's kind of a convergence of sales and marketing. It's like a two-headed beast. I feel like sales and marketing always kind of butt heads, and really we need to be working together. And if organizations can't figure that out, I don't think they're going to be very
They're going to lose.
Right. I mean, just because, like I said, thinking about the way that people use social media, they're going there for connection, and no one wants to see something that's overproduced or over edited. If it feels too corporate, people just keep on scrolling. Brands need to figure out that they need something authentic. They need a face. They need their buyers to feel connection. And that's where sales comes in. We've got these sales teams that are extremely skilled at building and maintaining relationships with customers, being personable and present while representing their product and being educators and good brand representatives. We need to figure out how to represent those people online so that your buyers feel like they're resonating with a person and not just the company. I think that's where the next generation of sales and marketing is going. We're intrinsically going to have to combine those two functions because, again, our next generation of buyers, the next leaders in IT, are the kids that grew up with these platforms.
That's a great answer, Alexis. And if you're watching the video of this, I'm just pointing and just thumbs upping because that's exactly the way I like to think about how we're doing some of the brand work in the B2B space that that we inhabit, software sales. So for Sendspark, it is about kind of adding a human element to it, unless you're Coca-Cola or unless you are Adidas or unless you're one of these enormous legacy brands, people aren't going to follow your brand. People follow people.
Right.
So I think you nailed it on the head there. Kind of going along with this thread here about the video and how you've managed to stand out. You use video to stand out and get some pretty dense subject matter across to folks that might not be technically inclined. Maybe your customers are technically inclined, but you're also putting it out there in this wider net that people like me, you make it very easy to understand. Has leveraging social media platforms like TikTok and LinkedIn helped you achieve your goal?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple different ways I come up with content. A lot of that's driven through inspiration I get from my customers, questions that they're asking on calls with me. I'll take those and use the videos as a way to educate myself. We live in this age where there's so much information available. You just need to go look for it. And so when I'm digging into their questions or helping to educate myself on their projects, I'll use the videos as a way to, one, become fluent in it. It's one thing to read a very dense technology topic and learn how to talk about it. And oh, by the way, now I'm doing something that's positive for the network engineering community, helping other people learn, helping other people become part of the conversation. I've been able not only to impact my own customers that I personally support, but I've been able to connect 20 different customers with their account teams and help drive business in other areas of Cisco. My goals for my platform, as far as why I create videos, one, information sharing, knowledge sharing, two, helping the next generation of kids get interested in networking. So there's a huge push right now in the tech space for cloud. Everyone wants to be a cloud architect or a developer, go into cybersecurity, but all of those functions rely heavily on the network, and no one talks about network engineering. When
tangible things, right? Can't be the cloud. It can't just be the cloud. Right. There has to be real things that make it happen. I get it.
And I feel like in the early 2000s and the 90s, when the internet, the dot-com bubble burst, there was all of these people who were so excited to build the internet and lay the foundation for the internet. And now with this younger generation, kids just take it for granted. Everyone assumes that the network's just going to work. When I load my phone, everything's just there. No one thinks about the underlying connections. But in order to continue to advance the technology space, we're going to need network engineers who are going to continue to innovate and build better connections.
That's such a good point. And I'm having so much fun having this conversation just because it takes me back to the days when I was learning about these concepts. Have you noticed any particular style of video working better for you than others?
It really depends on the platform. I'm a relatively new content creator. I've only been doing this for about 4 or 5 months. So I don't want to say cut and paste everything, but I'll take inspiration from things I find on TikTok and then
you must consume to create.
I don't consume as much as I used to, I will say. My screen time's about the same. I just spend more time editing my own videos than watching.
That's great, though. You've given yourself a creative perimeter around it.
Yeah.
So,
but I'll take a video from TikTok and then post it on Twitter, post it on LinkedIn. And it really depends on the platform. It depends on the day. It depends, I don't know, probably on the algorithm, at what time of day I'm posting, how many people are active, what have you. I haven't noticed a pattern yet.
Okay.
Something I have noticed is LinkedIn has this impression or persona of being very buttoned up, right? People go on LinkedIn and post these big professional paragraphs. Some of my best videos on LinkedIn have been the less serious ones. My technical, longer explainer videos normally do well, but some of my best videos have been memes from TikTok that I pasted into LinkedIn and then I wrote a serious caption.
Yeah.
It's a break in the feed.
I feel like I saw one recently where I think you were in front of a closet. That was a pretty good one. That was a good break in the feed. And I guess there's got to be a downside to all this. What has it been for you?
I am still learning how to balance social media presence, so it does take a bit of time. I like to argue that in my free time, it's the time I would have been spending on my phone anyways, but I am still learning how to balance answering notifications, or right now I have all my notifications on my phone turned off because the dopamine hit, like you get a like and you're like, oh, what is this?
Crazy.
What is it? But when you're cross-posting content every day on 4 social media platforms, platforms. You can't pick up your phone for every like. It's not sustainable.
No.
And so trying to balance that a little bit more.
How about
Again,
like your face is out there. You're more present. You're very good at this. And it's obviously,
thank you.
I've seen it's getting popular. You get plays, you get views. I mean, one of your most recent ones on TikTok got 500,000 views. That's not nothing. Are you kidding me?
Well, it was people fighting about hybrid work. That's always a hot
There
topic.
you go. Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, that's awesome. You get stuff that gets the people fired up.
Again, it goes back to some of my goals for the platform is exposing more people to IT and to networking, right? Looking at business use cases that rely on the network. You don't just get to work from home. Your company has to support a full security stack. There's a lot of other things that need to be implemented. So by opening up the conversation to things technology can do, can we bring awareness to what IT actually does besides answer trouble tickets?
And that will, like you're saying, it can inspire people in that sense, not knowing about, oh, this is what it was. I think I can do that. So it helps. Alexis, what is an unusual habit or absurd thing that you love? What makes you weird?
So I'm a long distance runner. I know a lot of people think running for fun is crazy. I really like to joke that my hobby is opposite my job. So I'll spend hours on video calls all day talking to customers, running my mouth, doing demos, what have you. And then I'll go outside and run for a couple hours.
Couple hours? What are we talking about?
An hour, 2 hours.
Daily.
Depends on the run. Not daily, like every other day.
That's so crazy. My dad just recently became a long distance runner, later on. How old am I? I'm 37. He's probably like 61 or something.
It sneaks up on you. I like to joke mine was a quarter life crisis inspired marathon, but
Oh, so you've done the marathons and everything. You can do that too?
I did one for my 26th birthday. So I ran Miami.
Congratulations.
I thought 26 miles for 26 years was a cute bucket list item. So
it is cute. Wait, what did you gift yourself when you were done and finished the finish line in Miami? What local delicacy did you gift yourself?
Honestly, we didn't do anything afterwards. I was in so much pain. I think I just laid on the floor and we ate the groceries we had in the Airbnb. If anyone on here is ever thinking about running Miami, I picked Miami. I thought it was going to be so much fun. The race itself was fun. I had never been to Miami. I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to go run. We can go hit the clubs. This is going to be so much fun for my birthday. The race was on Sunday. The only thing you're doing before a marathon is eating bagels and drinking water. So needless to say, we did not go out Friday or Saturday night. No. And the only thing we did was run.
But hadn't you considered that?
No.
You didn't even think of it. You're like, we'll be in Miami. I see.
Yeah, it'll be in Miami. It'll be so fun.
Yeah, it'll be
so
good.
think about that.
Oh my God. My stomach dropped when you were talking about Miami and that it was on that Sunday, just the hangover.
Yeah.
Okay. No. So try not to do Miami. All right. So you're a long distance runner. Yeah, it's kind of kooky. It's kooky because of what you do in because of that, that change from day to night. Alexis, what purchase of $100 or less has most positively impacted your life in the last 6 months?
I would say the Abercrombie Sloan dress pants. They're my favorite. I just ordered another pair. If you're going to any kind of tech conference or you need something super casual, or if you are in your mid-20s and you're looking for something that you can wear to work and then also to the bar. I live in Washington, D.C., so bar attire is basically business casual.
That's what it is. I
like to joke if you're going out, you need a collar on. It's so formal here. It's really quite ridiculous, but I think they're incredible.
Okay, the Abercrombie Sloan dress pant. I see them.
Brian will link it in the podcast.
I'm going to link it for under $100. You could run around and look like Alexis. Thank you so much for that answer. We've arrived at everyone's favorite question. It's the Billboard question. You ready?
Sure.
If you could have a billboard with anything on it, I'm paying for it. Everyone would drive by every single day and read it. What would it be and why?
I think that young professionals need to start creating a portfolio of their work on social media. I tell everyone that I mentor, I tell everyone that I talk to that you need to start doing this because, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be the way that people interact and the way that people hire in the future. So things are only going more online, not less. And if you cannot figure out how to represent and market yourself in this new world, you're going to miss out on opportunities in the future. And a lot of people think that the videos are kind of silly, but you're literally branding yourself as a professional in your organization. You don't need to create content about fashion or lifestyle or whatever you do. Make videos about what you do for work.
Yep.
And it should be the easiest thing because you do it every day.
You nailed it, Alexis. And again, the big reason why I wanted you on here is because I feel like we have the same perspective on that. I wouldn't call myself technically gifted or smart in any way, but I'm really good at standing out and getting a message across in an interesting way. Humor is a big part of it.
Yep, the world is watching,
Yeah.
honestly. And as much as you don't think it makes an impact, just even putting up one story a day, one quick picture with a caption. And I was just recently asked to come on and talk to some of our new hires about building a personal brand. You know, they're going through a year of training on Cisco technology. I said, if you make one post a week, you're going to sit through 8 hours of classes every day.
Yeah,
And if you
there we
can take
go.
30 minutes at the end of the week and sum up what you learned in one post and do that every single week all year, it's going to make a world of difference for you.
Again, for all the reasons that we talked about, it'll inspire other people who might not have thought about it. It'll help that person get their face out there. It'll make them more comfortable getting out there, just starting. There's just so many benefits to it that a lot of people just really don't consider because of what you said earlier. They're like, oh, you're going to go up there and talk about lifestyle and fashion. It's like, no, you really missed the boat. You're really missing the point. And it's hard to do that for people my age. And it sounds like it's still the same.
When I first started posting on TikTok, I got a lot of eye rolls. You know, why are you posting IT content on TikTok? And the thing is, you need to take everyone on TikTok at base level because you don't know who's behind a username. And all of a sudden, this is my favorite example. I've got Holiday Fart Cruise 47 who's asking me about updating his core and sending me paragraphs about his network infrastructure and, you know, what's my recommendation. And I'm like, you are clearly a real customer.
A real customer.
I don't know who you are, but you are a Cisco customer. So they're out there on every platform.
Alexis, we've arrived at the end of our conversation. My final question for you. Tell us a little bit about what's next for you in your company, anything that our listeners should check out.
What's next for me, I want to continue building out that network engineering community online, finding ways to continue supporting our customers, either by creation of free resources, helping them connect with their sales teams or other things at Cisco. There's a lot. And I think every company, whether it's Cisco, AWS, Dell, Microsoft, they have all of these free resources for customers that sometimes aren't communicated. So helping customers be more aware of the resources and programs and webinars, trainings and teachings, things that are available to them for free to help them learn more and continue advancing their careers.
Awesome, Alexis. Thank you so much.